I was standing in my childhood kitchen, 3 weeks before my wedding, when my mother delivered the unthinkable demand: cancel the wedding, not postpone it, cancel it. The reason? My younger sister Madison just got dumped by her boyfriend of 6 months, and seeing me get married would be too painful for her. Mom said Madison was devastated and fragile, and as the older sister, I needed to be the bigger person. I stared at my mother in disbelief, unable to process what I was hearing. My hands were shaking as I gripped the edge of the kitchen counter. I tried to form words, but nothing came out at first. Finally, I managed to speak. "Mom, you cannot be serious right now." She crossed her arms, her expression firm and unyielding. "I am completely serious, Evangeline. Your sister is going through a very difficult time. She needs our support. Not to watch you parade around in a white dress celebrating your happiness while she's heartbroken." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. "Mom, I have deposits down. We have 150 guests flying in from all over the country. The venue has been booked for 8 months. The caterer, the photographer, the florist, everything is paid for and confirmed." She waved her hand dismissively. "Those are just details. This is about family. Family comes first, always. Madison's emotional well-being is more important than just a party." Just a party. She called my wedding just a party. This is not just a party, Mom. This is my wedding day. Connor and I have been planning this for over a year. Then you can plan another one in 6 months or a year when Madison has had time to heal. You're being selfish, Evangeline. You've always been the strong one, the responsible one. Madison is sensitive. She needs you to step up and be the bigger person here. I could not believe what I was hearing. This was not real. This could not be happening. I pulled my phone from my pocket with trembling fingers and called Connor. He answered on the second ring. "Hey babe, how's it going at your mom's?" "Connor, you need to hear this." I put the phone on speaker. "Mom, can you repeat what you just told me?" My mother looked annoyed, but repeated her demand. "I'm asking Evangeline to postpone her wedding because Madison just went through a breakup, and it would be too painful for her to attend." There was silence on the other end of the line. Then Connor's voice, carefully controlled. "Mrs. Patterson, with all due respect, that's an unreasonable request. We cannot cancel our wedding 3 weeks out. I'm not asking you, Connor. I'm asking my daughter to think about her sister's feelings for once." I hung up before Connor could respond. I needed to leave. I needed air. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" Mom called after me. "To talk to Madison. Since apparently this is all about her feelings." I drove across town to Madison's apartment, my mind racing. This had to be a misunderstanding. Madison would never actually want me to cancel my wedding. She would tell Mom this was crazy, and we could all move past this nightmare. I knocked on her door. She opened it wearing sweatpants and an oversized sweatshirt, her hair in a messy bun. She looked surprised to see me. "Evangeline, what are you doing here? Can I come in? We need to talk." She stepped aside and I entered her small 1-bedroom apartment. The TV was on, playing some reality show. A pint of ice cream sat on the coffee table next to her phone. "Madison, Mom just told me you're devastated about your breakup with Tyler. She wants me to cancel my wedding because it would be too painful for you." Madison picked up her ice cream and settled back onto the couch. "Oh, yeah. I mean, I did mention to Mom that I was feeling kind of sad about being single while you're getting married and everything." I stared at her. She was not crying. She was not devastated. She was eating ice cream and watching TV like any normal Tuesday evening. "Madison, are you actually upset about this? Because Mom is acting like you're falling apart." She shrugged, taking another spoonful of ice cream. "I mean, yeah. It would be easier for me if you just waited a few months. Tyler and I were together for 6 months. That's not nothing. And now I have to go to your wedding alone and watch everyone couple up and dance while I'm the sad single sister. It kinda sucks." The realization hit me like a freight train. She was not devastated. She was mildly inconvenienced. And somehow that was enough for my mother to demand I cancel my entire wedding. "Madison, I've been planning this wedding for over a year. We have 150 people coming. Do you understand what you're asking?" "I'm not asking anything. Mom's the one who brought it up. But honestly, Evangeline, Would it kill you to think about someone other than yourself for once? That was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Because I had heard those words my entire life. Think about Madison. Consider Madison's feelings. Madison needs this more than you do. I was 11 years old when I had to give up my birthday party. Because Madison, who was 8, cried that she wanted her own party that weekend too. Mom said we could not afford 2 parties, so we had a joint party where Madison got to pick the theme and invite her friends. I was 17 when I had to skip my senior trip to Europe, because Madison needed the money for cheerleading camp. Mom said cheerleading was important for Madison's college applications, and I could travel when I was older. I was 18 when I deferred college for a year because Madison was starting high school and needed help adjusting. Mom said Madison was struggling and needed her big sister around. Every single time I was expected to sacrifice. Every single time I was told to be the bigger person. And I did it. I always did it. But not this time. You know what, Madison? No. I'm not canceling my wedding. I'm not postponing it. I'm getting married in 3 weeks exactly as planned. She looked up from her ice cream, surprised. Seriously? You're really going to be that selfish? If not wanting to cancel my wedding is selfish, then yes, I guess I am. I walked out of her apartment and sat in my car. My hands were still shaking, but now it was from anger, not shock. I pulled out my phone and called my mother. She answered immediately. Did you talk to Madison? Do you see how upset she is? Mom, Madison is fine. She's watching TV and eating ice cream. She's not devastated. Of course she's putting on a brave face for you. She doesn't want you to feel guilty. No, Mom. She's actually fine. And I'm not canceling my wedding. There was a long pause. Evangeline Marie Patterson. If you go through with this wedding while your sister is suffering, you are choosing a man over your family. I'm choosing myself, Mom. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing myself. And if you cannot support that, then I don't want you at my wedding. You don't mean that. I do. You're uninvited. Dad's uninvited. Madison's uninvited. If you cannot be happy for me, then you don't need to be there. My mother's voice rose to a shout. You are breaking this family apart. You are selfish and cruel, and I cannot believe I raised such an ungrateful daughter. I hung up. Then I blocked her number, blocked my father's number, and blocked Madison's number. My heart was pounding, but underneath the fear and hurt, I felt something else. I felt free. For the next few days, I felt like I could finally breathe. Connor was incredibly supportive, holding me while I cried and reassuring me that I had made the right choice. We continued with our wedding planning, adjusting the guest count, and feeling relieved that at least the drama was over. I should have known better. On Thursday afternoon, my phone started ringing. I did not recognize the number, but I answered anyway. Evangeline? This is your Aunt Carol. My stomach dropped. Hi, Aunt Carol. I just got off the phone with your mother, and I have to say, I am absolutely shocked by your behavior. How could you kick your own family out of your wedding? I tried to explain. Aunt Carol, that's not what happened. Mom wanted me to cancel my entire wedding because Madison got dumped, and I refused. That's not what your mother told me. She said you uninvited them over a minor disagreement. Your sister is going through a terrible time, and you're being incredibly selfish. Madison is fine. She's not even that upset about the breakup. Your mother said Madison is suicidal, Evangeline. Suicidal. And you don't even care. My blood ran cold. That's a complete lie. Madison is not suicidal. I was just at her apartment. She was watching TV and eating ice cream. Why would your mother lie about something like that? You're breaking your father's heart. I'm calling to tell you that I won't be attending your wedding either. Not until you apologize to your family. She hung up before I could respond. Over the next 2 days, I received 17 more calls. Uncles, cousins, my grandmother, family friends. Every single one had heard a version of events from my mother that painted me as a monster. According to Mom's story, I had kicked my family out of the wedding over nothing, was refusing to help my suicidal sister, and was being a spoiled bridezilla who cared more about flowers and dresses than family. No one believed my side of the story. No one even asked for my side of the story. They called to lecture me, to shame me, to tell me what a terrible person I had become. My grandmother called crying, begging me to apologize and make things right. Your mother is heartbroken, sweetheart. She raised you better than this. Please, just apologize. Family is everything. I tried to explain again, but Grandma cut me off. I don't want to hear excuses, Evangeline. You're 28 years old. You should know better. 17 family members canceled their attendance at the wedding. 17. They all said they stood in solidarity with my mother and could not support my cruel behavior. Then my father sent an email. He had never been much of a talker. Always let Mom handle the emotional stuff. But his email was short and devastating. Evangeline, I am deeply disappointed in the woman you have become. I thought I raised you to value family above all else. Your mother is beside herself with grief over how you've treated your sister. I hope you can live with yourself, Dad. I read that email 5 times, each time hoping the words would change. They did not. Connor found me crying on the couch that evening. His mother had called him earlier, her voice concerned. She had run into someone at the grocery store who asked if Connor was really marrying that girl who kicked her family out of her wedding for no reason. The rumors were spreading beyond just my family. Our entire community was hearing this twisted version of events. We'll make the wedding smaller, Connor said, holding me. Just our closest friends, people who actually know us and love us. We don't need 150 people. We just need the people who matter. I nodded against his chest, trying to believe him. We spent that evening going through our guest list, identifying our true friends. It was depressing how small that circle actually was. The next morning, I was at work trying to focus on a project deadline when my phone rang. It was the venue manager, Patricia. My heart started racing. Hi, Patricia. Is everything okay? Evangeline. I'm so sorry to bother you. But we have a situation, and I need to speak with you right away. Can you come to the venue today? What kind of situation? There was a long pause. I'd really rather explain in person. Can you be here in an hour? I told my boss I had a family emergency and drove to the venue with my stomach in knots. Connor met me there, having left his office downtown. We walked into the elegant event space where we were supposed to get married in less than 3 weeks. Patricia looked uncomfortable. I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to say it. Someone called our office yesterday claiming to be you, Evangeline. They canceled your wedding booking. The room seemed to tilt. What? They had all your verification information. Your birth date, your phone number, the last 4 digits of your credit card. We had no reason to doubt it was you. We processed the cancellation, refunded the deposit to the account on file, and released the date to another couple who had been on our wait list. Connor's face went red. You cannot be serious. You just canceled someone's wedding without actually verifying it was them. Patricia looked miserable. They answered all the security questions correctly. We followed our standard protocol. I could barely speak. What account did you refund the deposit to? She pulled up the file on her computer. Account ending in 7432. That was not my account. I did not recognize those numbers. That's not my account, I whispered. I'm so sorry, but the cancellation is legally binding. We cannot undo it. The date has already been promised to another couple. Connor was trying to stay calm, but his voice was strained. There has to be something you can do. This is fraud. Someone impersonated my fiancé. You're welcome to pursue legal action against whoever did this, but we cannot help you. Our date is booked. I'm truly sorry. We sat in Connor's car in the parking lot, both of us in shock. Then it hit me. The security questions. My birth date, phone number, credit card information. Only one person had all of that information from years of handling family finances, my mother. I called her from Connor's phone since she was blocked on mine. She answered on the 3rd ring. Hello? Did you cancel my wedding venue? There was a pause. Then her voice, cold and controlled. I don't know what you're talking about. The venue just told me someone called pretending to be me and canceled everything. Someone who had all my personal information. Someone like my mother who still has my old credit card information from when she helped me open my first bank account. Maybe this is a sign, Evangeline. Maybe you're not meant to get married right now. Maybe you need to focus on healing your family first. She did not deny it. She did not even try to deny it. You're insane, I said, and hung up. Connor and I spent the rest of the day desperately calling every venue within 50 miles. Everything was booked. Every single place. It was wedding season, and we were 3 weeks out. No one had availability. Finally, Connor's mother suggested we use their backyard. They had a large property with beautiful gardens. It was not what we had planned, but it was something. We agreed, grateful for any solution. That evening, I checked my bank account to see what we could afford for a photographer and caterer with our reduced budget. That's when I saw it. $5,000 was missing from my wedding savings account. My heart stopped. I called the bank immediately. The customer service representative pulled up my account. Yes, ma'am. There was a withdrawal of $5,000 3 days ago at our downtown branch. I didn't make that withdrawal. It shows here it was made by the secondary account holder. Secondary account holder. I had completely forgotten. When I was 16, my mother had helped me open my first savings account. She had insisted on being a joint account holder in case of emergencies. I had never removed her name. The account had just evolved into my wedding savings over the years. Can I get that money back? It was taken without my permission. Unfortunately, ma'am, a joint account holder has full legal access to all funds. There's nothing we can do unless you want to pursue legal action against the other account holder. I hung up and just stared at the wall. $5,000. Gone. That was the money for our photographer, our caterer, our florist. We had been saving for 2 years. Connor found me sitting on the floor of our apartment, my phone in my hand, tears streaming down my face. She took the money, I whispered. She took $5,000 from our wedding account. He sat down beside me and pulled me close. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. We don't need an expensive wedding. We just need each other. But I could not stop crying. My dream wedding was crumbling around me, piece by piece, and my own mother was the one destroying it. Over the next few days, Connor and I worked frantically to rebuild our wedding plans. His family was incredibly kind, lending us decorations, offering to help with food, doing everything they could to make our backyard wedding beautiful. I felt grateful, but also heartbroken, that my own family was not the one supporting me. We found a photographer willing to work within our reduced budget, though we had to cut the hours of coverage in half. The caterer we wanted was too expensive now, so we arranged for a taco truck instead. It was not what I had envisioned, but Connor kept reminding me that the wedding was about us, not the details. I was starting to feel like maybe, just maybe, we could pull this off. Then my friend Amanda sent me a text with a link. Have you seen this? I clicked the link. It took me to Madison's social media page. My stomach dropped as I read the post she had published that morning. I never thought I'd have to write this, but here we are. My older sister uninvited our entire family from her wedding because I couldn't afford the $500 bridesmaid dress she demanded I buy. Yes, you read that right. $500. I'm a teacher making $30,000 a year. And she called me selfish for not being able to afford her luxury wedding expenses. She told our mother that family means nothing to her anymore and that we're all dead to her. I'm heartbroken. I've looked up to my big sister my whole life, and now she's thrown us all away over money and material things. If you're reading this and you know someone planning a wedding, please remind them what really matters. It's not the dress or the flowers or the Instagram photos. It's the people who love you. I guess my sister forgot that. Below the post were dozens of old family photos. Madison and me as kids, building sandcastles at the beach. Madison and me at her high school graduation. Madison and me at Christmas, smiling and hugging. Every photo carefully chosen to make us look like a close-loving family. The post had been shared 370 times. 370. There were over 200 comments, and as I scrolled through them, my hands started shaking. What kind of person demands their sister spend that much on a dress? This is what's wrong with weddings today. People care more about the aesthetic than the actual marriage. I feel so bad for this poor girl. Her sister sounds like a nightmare. Bridicila, alert. People I knew from high school were sharing it. People from college. I saw names I recognized. People who had been friendly to me. People who were supposed to come to my wedding. They were all sharing Madison's lies and adding their own commentary about what a terrible person I was. I had never demanded Madison buy a $500 dress. I had never even asked her to be a bridesmaid. She had been uninvited before we got that far in the planning. But no one knew that. No one cared about the truth. They just saw Madison's tearful post and her carefully curated photos and believed every word. Connor came home from work to find me still staring at my phone, scrolling through the endless comments. "Evangeline? What's wrong?" I showed him the post. His jaw clenched as he read it. "This is defamation. She's outright lying. We could sue her for this." "With what money, Connor? We can barely afford our wedding right now." He had no answer for that. The next day at work was a nightmare. I could feel people staring at me. Whispering stopped when I walked by. My coworker Sarah, who I had always thought was a friend, avoided making eye contact with me in the break room. Finally, another coworker, Daniel, approached my desk. "Hey, Evangeline. I saw that post going around about you." "That's rough." I did not know what to say. "It's not true. She's lying." He nodded slowly, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. "Yeah, well, there's always two sides to every story, right?" He walked away, leaving me feeling sick to my stomach. Even people who knew me, who had worked with me for years, were believing Madison's lies. That afternoon, my boss called me into her office. Sharon was normally warm and friendly, but today her expression was serious. "Evangeline, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Is everything okay? I've been hearing some concerning things." My face flushed. "If this is about the social media post, it's all lies. My sister is making things up." Sharon folded her hands on her desk. "I'm not here to judge your personal life, but I need to make sure it's not affecting your work or creating issues with the team. It's not. I swear, I'm doing my job. This is all personal family drama that has nothing to do with work." She studied me for a long moment. "All right. But Evangeline, if this continues to be a distraction, we may need to have a different conversation." I left her office feeling humiliated. My personal life was being discussed in the office. People were gossiping about me. My professional reputation was being damaged by Madison's lies. That evening, my phone rang. It was Jessica, my maid of honor. Or rather, my former maid of honor. "Evangeline, I need to talk to you about something." Her voice sounded strained, and my stomach dropped. "What's wrong?" "I can't be in your wedding anymore. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "What? Why?" She was crying now. "My mom is best friends with your mom. They've been friends for 30 years. My mom called me yesterday and said if I stand up for you at this wedding, she'll cut me off. She said I'm choosing sides in a family matter that has nothing to do with me, and if I go through with being your maid of honor, she doesn't want a relationship with me anymore." I felt like I had been slapped. "Jessica, we've been friends since 4th grade. I know, and I feel terrible about this. But Evangeline, I can't lose my mother over this. I'm her only daughter. She means everything to me. I can't risk that relationship. So you're choosing her over me." "I'm choosing my mother over your wedding." That's not the same thing, but it felt the same to me. After I hung up, I received 2 more calls. 2 other bridesmaids, both citing similar pressure from their families. Madison and my mother had spread their lies so thoroughly through our community that people were being forced to choose sides. And they were choosing my mother's side. By the end of the week, I had no bridesmaids. Connor still had his groomsmen. But my side of the wedding party had completely disappeared. It was now 1 week before the wedding, and I was running on pure determination and very little sleep. Every day brought a new challenge, a new betrayal, a new way for my life to fall apart. Connor kept suggesting we just elope, run away to a courthouse somewhere and avoid all of this drama. Part of me wanted to. Part of me wanted to escape to somewhere. My mother could not reach me, but a bigger part of me refused to give up. If I ran away now, my mother won. She got what she wanted, which was to ruin my wedding day. I could not let that happen. I would not let that happen. Connor's family continued to be amazing. His mother, Patricia, spent hours helping me rework our plans. His father built an arch for the ceremony. His sister created a playlist for the reception. They treated me like I was already part of their family, and their kindness made me cry more than once. On Tuesday afternoon, a large envelope arrived at our apartment. My name was typed on the front with no return address. I opened it carefully. and my heart sank as I read the letterhead. Caldwell and Associates, attorneys at law. It was a cease and desist letter. I read through the legal jargon, my hands shaking more with each paragraph. The letter claimed I was engaging in a campaign of slander and harassment against my family. It accused me of spreading lies about my mother and sister. It threatened legal action if I continued to defame them or harass them in any way. I had not said a word publicly. I had not posted anything on social media. I had not told anyone outside of Connor and his family what was really happening. But here was a legal letter threatening to sue me for slander. Connor came home to find me sitting at the kitchen table. The letter spread out in front of me. What is that? My mother hired a lawyer. She's threatening to sue me. He picked up the letter and read it, his face growing redder with each line. This is insane. This is abuse. She's trying to intimidate you into backing down. It's working. No. No. We're not letting her do this. I'm calling my cousin Andrew. He's a lawyer. He'll know what to do. While Connor made phone calls, I sat there feeling the walls close in around me. We could not afford a legal battle. We could barely afford our wedding. If my mother actually sued us, it would destroy us financially. Andrew called back within an hour. Connor put him on speaker so I could hear. The letter is complete garbage, Andrew said. It's intimidation. Nothing more. They have no case. You haven't done anything wrong. But here's the problem. If they do file a lawsuit, even a baseless one, you'll have to defend yourselves. That means lawyer fees, court costs, time and stress. They're banking on you being too scared to fight back. So what do we do? I asked. You ignore it. Don't respond. Don't engage. If they actually file a lawsuit, call me immediately and we'll deal with it. But I'm betting they won't. This is just a scare tactic. After we hung up, Connor held me while I cried. She's trying to destroy me. She's not trying to get me to postpone the wedding anymore. She's trying to destroy my entire life. She won't win. We won't let her win. But I was not so sure anymore. The next day, I was sitting at my desk at work, trying to focus on a spreadsheet, when my phone buzzed. It was an email from HR. Evangeline, please come to my office at 2 p.m. today. Linda Chang, HR Director. My stomach dropped. I spent the next 3 hours unable to concentrate, my mind racing through possibilities. At exactly 2 p.m., I walked to Linda's office on the 3rd floor. Linda was a pleasant woman in her 50s who had always been friendly to me, but today, her expression was serious and professional. Evangeline, please sit down. I need to discuss something sensitive with you. I sat, my hands clasped tightly in my lap. We received a formal complaint about you yesterday. I can't tell you who filed it because it was submitted anonymously. But I'm required to take all complaints seriously and investigate them. A complaint about what? Linda pulled out a printed document and slid it across the desk. The complaint alleges that you have been creating a hostile work environment by discussing personal family drama at work, that you have been emotionally unstable, and that several coworkers feel uncomfortable around you. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. That's not true. I haven't discussed my family situation with anyone except maybe Daniel when he asked me about the social media post, and I've been nothing but professional. I understand this is difficult, but I have to conduct a proper investigation. That means I need to interview several people on your team and review your recent work performance. During this investigation, I'm putting you on paid administrative leave. You're suspending me? It's temporary, and it's paid. But yes, until this investigation is complete, I need you to not come into the office. I'll need your badge and your laptop. I could not believe this was happening. 1 week before my wedding, I was being suspended from my job based on an anonymous complaint that was obviously filed by someone connected to my mother. I handed over my badge and laptop in a daze. As I walked out of the building, I saw Sarah watching from her desk. She looked away quickly when I met her eyes. I sat in my car in the parking lot and called Connor. They suspended me from work. Someone filed a complaint saying I'm unstable and creating a hostile environment. Connor was silent for a moment. Then his voice, carefully controlled. This is your mother. She's behind all of this. She's systematically trying to destroy everything in your life. What am I supposed to do, Connor? I have no job, no bridesmaids, no venue we wanted, no wedding we planned. My entire family hates me. Half our guests canceled. I'm being threatened with a lawsuit. How much more can I take? We fight back. We stop playing defense. And we go on offense. How? We have no money for lawyers. We can't afford to fight a legal battle. Then we fight smart. We document everything. We gather evidence. And we expose the truth. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to think we could win this. But sitting in that parking lot, suspended from my job, 1 week before my wedding, I felt defeated. That night I barely slept. I kept thinking about everything that had happened, everything I had lost. My job, my family, my friends, my dream wedding, all because I refused to cancel my wedding for Madison's convenience. At 3 a.m, Connor found me sitting in the dark living room, staring at nothing. Can't sleep? I shook my head. He sat down beside me and took my hand. What are you thinking? I'm thinking maybe we should just elope. Get married at the courthouse. Let my mother have her victory. At least then this nightmare would be over. Connor was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Is that what you want? Honestly, I thought about it. Really thought about it. And I realized that no, it was not what I wanted. I wanted my wedding day. I wanted to marry the man I loved, surrounded by people who actually cared about us. I wanted to stand up for myself and prove that I was not the monster my mother was making me out to be. No, I whispered. I want to fight. I want my wedding. And I want the truth to come out. Then that's what we'll do. Together, we stayed up the rest of the night planning. Not our wedding, but our strategy. How to gather evidence. How to document everything. How to expose my mother's lies. It was time to stop being the victim and start being the victor. The next morning, I woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. Connor had to go to work. But I had nowhere to be thanks to my suspension. I decided to use that time productively. First, I called Andrew, Connor's lawyer cousin, and scheduled a proper consultation. He agreed to meet with me for free as a family favor. I gathered every piece of documentation I could find: bank statements showing my mother's withdrawal, emails from my father, screenshots of Madison's social media posts, the cease and desist letter, the email from HR. Andrew reviewed everything carefully. You have a strong case for harassment, defamation, and financial theft. The problem is, pursuing legal action costs money and time, but you can use this documentation to protect yourself. How? If she escalates further, you have proof of a pattern of harassment. If she tries to sue you, you have evidence that her claims are false. This is your insurance policy. I left his office feeling slightly better. At least I had something concrete, something factual to counter all the lies. That afternoon, Connor and I drove to the venue where our reception was supposed to be. We met with Patricia, the manager, and convinced her to let us review the security footage from the day the venue was canceled. It took some persuading, but she finally agreed. We watched the footage in her office. No one came in person to cancel. The cancellation was done by phone. But Patricia pulled up the phone records and played the recorded call for us. The voice on the recording was not mine. It was female, roughly my age, but it was clearly not me. Connor and I looked at each other. Can I get a copy of this recording? I asked. Patricia hesitated. I'm not sure I'm allowed to give that to you. Someone committed fraud using my identity. This is evidence. Please. She made a copy and handed me the flash drive. It was not much, but it was something. Over the next few days, I methodically gathered more evidence. I called my bank and requested documentation of the withdrawal, including the signature and ID used. My mother had used my old credit card information but her own ID, leaving a paper trail. I took screenshots of every lie Madison posted on social media. I saved every hateful message I received from family members. I documented every single thing that had happened. Connor came home from work on Friday evening looking exhausted. My mom called. Your mother showed up at my parents' house today. My blood ran cold. What? She told my parents that you have serious mental health issues, that you're unstable and dangerous. She said you've been lying about everything, and that she's worried I'm making a mistake marrying you. She begged them to convince me to call off the wedding. I felt sick. What did your parents say? They told her to leave. My dad actually threatened to call the police if she came back. But Evangeline, she's not stopping. She's going after everyone close to you. That evening, I made the mistake of checking Madison's social media again. She had posted a new update, and this one made my hands shake with rage. Update. Thank you all for the overwhelming support during this difficult time. Your kindness has meant the world to me. Due to the trauma and financial stress my sister has caused, I've had to seek professional counseling and have fallen behind on bills. If anyone would like to help me get back on my feet, I've set up a fundraiser. Link in bio. Any amount helps. Thank you for understanding that family should never be treated this way. I clicked the link. It took me to a GoFundMe page titled Help Madison Recover from Family Trauma. The description was even worse than her social media post, painting me as an abusive, controlling sister who had cut her off financially and emotionally. The goal was $5,000. As of that moment, she had already raised $3,200. I stared at the screen in disbelief. My sister was literally profiting from lying about me. Strangers were giving her money based on completely fabricated stories. I took screenshots of everything. The fundraiser, the description, the amount raised, more evidence for my growing file. Connor found me crying at the kitchen table an hour later. What happened now? I showed him Madison's fundraiser. His face went white with anger. This is fraud. She's defrauding people. We need to report this. To who? The GoFundMe police? She's my sister. Everyone believes her. No one will believe me. Connor sat down across from me and took both my hands. Maybe we should just elope, Evangeline. This is too much. Your mother is destroying everything. Maybe we should just get out. I looked at him, this man who loved me enough to fight this battle with me, and I realized something. If I ran away now, Madison would keep the money she raised through lies. My mother would tell everyone I ran because I was guilty. My family would spend the rest of their lives believing I was the monster they thought I was. No. I want to fight. I want my wedding. And I want everyone to know the truth. Connor squeezed my hands. Then we fight. But we need a plan. We stayed up until 2 a.m. creating that plan. It was risky, it might backfire, but it was the only way to expose the truth. The next day was Saturday. Exactly 1 week before our wedding. I spent the morning helping Patricia. Connor's mother set up decorations in their backyard. The weather forecast looked perfect. Everything was coming together for a beautiful, simple ceremony. That afternoon, my phone rang. It was a number I did not recognize, but I answered anyway. Is this Evangeline Patterson? Yes, who is this? This is Detective Sarah Martinez with the County Police Department. I need to speak with you about a matter involving your family. My heart stopped. What's wrong? Did something happen? No, ma'am, nothing like that. Your mother filed a report claiming you've been harassing and threatening her and your sister. I need to get your statement. I could not breathe. My mother had actually called the police on me. I haven't threatened anyone. This is retaliation because I uninvited her from my wedding. That's what I need to determine. Can you come down to the station? Connor drove me to the police station. I brought my entire file of documentation with me. Detective Martinez was a professional woman in her 40s, who listened carefully as I explained the entire situation. I showed her the bank statements, the venue cancellation, Madison's fundraiser, the cease and desist letter, everything. I played the recording of the fake cancellation call. I showed her the threatening messages from family members. She reviewed everything carefully. Then she looked up at me. Miss Patterson, it sounds like you're the victim here, not the perpetrator. I'm going to close this report as unfounded, and I strongly suggest you consider filing a report yourself about the theft and harassment. I thought about it, but filing a police report would only escalate things further, and I was exhausted from fighting. Can I think about it? Of course. But if this continues, you need to protect yourself legally. We left the police station, and I felt completely drained. We had 3 days until the wedding. 3 days to somehow pull this together. That night I sat in the dark living room again. Connor was asleep, but I could not turn my brain off. Everything felt impossible. My mother had tried to get me arrested. My sister was running a fraudulent fundraiser. I was suspended from work. My dream wedding was in pieces. Maybe Connor was right. Maybe we should just elope and be done with all of this. But then I thought about Madison's smug face. My mother's calculated cruelty. All the family members who believed their lies without question. If I ran away now, they won. They got to write the story. They got to control the narrative. No, I was done being the victim. It was time to flip the script. I pulled out my laptop and started typing. It was time to tell my story. The real story. 3 days before the wedding, and I was operating on adrenaline, coffee, and sheer stubbornness. Connor had taken the day off work to help with final preparations. His family was at the house setting up chairs, stringing lights, making everything perfect. I was sitting at the kitchen table, finishing the document I had been working on for days. It was a complete timeline of everything that had happened. From the moment my mother demanded I cancel my wedding to the police report she filed 3 days ago. Every event was documented, every lie exposed, every piece of evidence attached. Connor read over my shoulder. Are you sure about this? No, but I'm doing it anyway. The document was 23 pages long. It included screenshots, bank records, the venue's recording, text messages, everything. It was the truth, laid out in painful detail. I saved it to a flash drive and tucked it in my purse. Tomorrow was the rehearsal dinner. The day after that was the wedding. I had a plan, but I was terrified it would backfire. That afternoon, Connor's mother called us into the backyard to see the setup. I walked outside and felt tears spring to my eyes. It was beautiful. Twinkling lights hung between the trees. White chairs lined up in neat rows facing the handmade arch. Tables with simple white linens. It was not the grand venue I had originally planned, but it was perfect. Do you like it? Patricia asked nervously. I love it. Thank you so much, all of you. Connor's sister Emily gave me a hug. You're family now. This is what family does. That word, family, hit me hard. Because this was what family was supposed to look like. Support, love, effort. Not manipulation, theft, and lies. That evening, we held our small rehearsal dinner at a local restaurant. Only 20 people attended. Connor's family and our closest friends. It was intimate and warm, and nothing like the large rehearsal dinner we had originally planned. During dinner, Connor's father stood up to make a toast. I've known Evangeline for 2 years now, and I can honestly say Connor is the luckiest man alive. She's smart, kind, resilient, and loyal. She's been through more in the past month than anyone should have to endure, and she's still standing. That's the kind of strength and character I want for my son. Welcome to our family, Evangeline. Officially in 2 days, but really, you've been ours all along. I cried through the whole speech. Connor squeezed my hand under the table. After dinner, as we were leaving, I saw a car parked across the street. A familiar car. My mother's car. Connor, look. He followed my gaze and his jaw tightened. She's watching us. We got in our car and drove away, but I could see her following us in the rearview mirror. She followed us all the way back to our apartment and parked outside. Should we call the police? Connor asked. And say what? She's sitting in her car on a public street. She's not breaking any laws. We went inside, and I peeked through the curtains. My mother sat in her car for 2 hours before finally driving away. She's trying to intimidate you, Connor said. Don't let her. But I was intimidated. What else was she capable of? How far would she go? The next day, the day before the wedding, I woke up with a sense of dread. Too many things could still go wrong. I half expected my mother to show up and cause a scene, or for Madison to post some new lie that would turn our remaining guests against us. But the morning passed quietly. Connor and I spent it doing final preparations. Confirming with the taco truck, checking on the cake, making sure everything was in place. That afternoon I received a text from a number I did not recognize. Evangeline. This is Aunt Carol. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to tell you something. Your mother has been talking about crashing your wedding tomorrow. She wants to make a scene and stop the ceremony. I thought you should know. I'm sorry for how I treated you. I'm starting to realize there's more to this story than your mother told me. I showed the text to Connor. He immediately called the local police and explained the situation. They agreed to have an officer nearby during the ceremony, just in case. She's really going to try to ruin the actual wedding, I said, my voice hollow. She won't succeed. We're prepared now. That night I barely slept. I kept thinking about everything that could go wrong. My mother showing up, The guests believing her lies. The wedding turning into a disaster. But I also thought about my plan. The flash drive in my purse. The evidence I had gathered. Tomorrow was not just my wedding day. It was the day I took control of the narrative. At 3 a.m, Connor found me awake again. You need to sleep. Tomorrow is a big day. I keep thinking about everything that could go wrong. He pulled me close. Or you could think about everything that could go right. Tomorrow, we get married. Tomorrow, you become my wife. That's what matters. Everything else is just noise. What if everyone still believes her lies? Then they're not our people. The people who matter, who truly know you. They'll believe the truth. And tomorrow, you're going to tell that truth. I finally fell asleep around 4 a.m, Connor's arms around me, trying to believe that everything would work out. When I woke up at 8, Connor was already awake, watching me. Good morning, bride. Despite everything, I smiled. Good morning, groom. Ready to get married? Ready to get married. And ready to flip the script. The wedding was set for 4 p.m. I spent the morning getting ready with Emily and Patricia. They did my hair and makeup, helped me into my dress. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. I looked like a bride, happy, glowing, beautiful. But underneath, I was terrified. At 3:30, we arrived at Connor's parents' house. The backyard looked even more beautiful in the afternoon light. 42 people had come, significantly less than the 150 we had originally invited, but every single person there truly loved us. I stood in the house, peeking through the window at the guests arriving. That's when I saw them. My mother, my father, and Madison, walking up the driveway. My heart stopped. Connor, they're here. He looked out the window, his face darkening. I'll handle this. No, I'll handle it. This ends today. I walked out the front door, still in my wedding dress, and met them on the driveway. My mother looked shocked to see me. Evangeline, we need to talk. No, you need to leave. You're not invited. I'm your mother. I have a right to be at your wedding. You lost that right when you stole from me, lied about me, and tried to destroy my life. Leave. Now. Madison stepped forward. Evangeline, please. We're family. Don't do this. I looked at my sister, at her fake tears and her manipulative expression, and I felt nothing but disgust. You're not my family. Family doesn't do what you've done. There's a police officer stationed here specifically because Aunt Carol warned me you were planning to cause a scene. If you don't leave right now, I will have you arrested for trespassing. My father finally spoke. Your mother just wants to apologize. Really? Then apologize. My mother opened her mouth, but what came out was not an apology. I was trying to protect your sister. You've always been selfish, Evangeline. Always putting yourself first. There it is. That's not an apology. That's more manipulation. Get off this property. Now. The police officer I had spotted near the street started walking over. My mother saw him and her face paled. Fine, we'll go. But everyone will know what kind of person you really are. Good. Because I'm about to make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. They left. I watched their car disappear down the street. My hands shaking, but my spine straight. Connor was standing in the doorway. You okay? I'm perfect. Let's get married. The ceremony was beautiful. Simple and intimate and perfect. Connor cried when he saw me walking toward him. I cried during our vows. His father officiated, and when he pronounced us husband and wife, everyone cheered. For a moment, I forgot about everything else. I was just a woman marrying the man she loved, surrounded by people who genuinely cared about us. The reception started immediately after. The taco truck food was delicious. The cake was simple but elegant. Connor and I had our first dance to a song that meant something to us, not something my mother had insisted on. After dinner, Connor tapped his glass to get everyone's attention. Evangeline has something she'd like to share. This was it, the moment I had been planning for. My hands were shaking as I stood up. Thank you all so much for being here today. I know many of you heard various stories about why my family isn't here, why our wedding changed so drastically from what we originally planned. I want to share the truth with you, not for revenge, but because I refuse to let lies define me. I had set up a projector earlier. Connor's laptop was connected to it. I pulled up my presentation. This is a timeline of the past month. I'm sharing it because transparency matters, and because some of you have been lied to. I walked through it methodically. I showed the text from my mother demanding I cancel the wedding. I played the recording of the fake cancellation call to the venue. I showed the bank statements proving my mother withdrew $5,000 from my account. I displayed screenshots of Madison's lies on social media next to the evidence proving they were false. I showed the GoFundMe page and its fraudulent claims. I showed the cease and desist letter, the police report my mother filed, the messages from family members who cut me off based on lies. The room was completely silent. Several people were crying. Connor's mother had her hand over her mouth in shock. I showed pictures of me at Madison's apartment, where she was fine and watching TV, contradicting her claims of being suicidal. I showed the dates and times of everything, proving the timeline of manipulation. I'm not sharing this to make you feel sorry for me. I'm sharing it because truth matters. My mother and sister launched a systematic campaign to destroy my wedding and my life, because I refused to cancel it for them. They lied, stole, manipulated, and harassed. And they're still doing it. I paused, taking a deep breath. I spent my whole life being the bigger person, sacrificing for Madison, putting family first. But I learned something important through all of this. Being the bigger person doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. Real family supports you. Real family celebrates your happiness. Real family doesn't steal from you or lie about you. Several guests were nodding. I saw my Aunt Carol in the back, tears streaming down her face. To those of you who believed the lies and canceled on us, I understand. You heard one side of the story. Now you know the truth. To those of you who are here, thank you. You are my real family. I sat down to thunderous applause. Several people came up to hug me. Aunt Carol rushed over, sobbing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Your mother showed us texts she claimed were from you, saying horrible things. She had answers for everything we questioned. I should have trusted you. It's okay. I understand. But the best part came after. Within an hour, people started sharing my presentation. Aunt Carol sent it to the extended family group chat. Emily posted parts of it on social media, tagging Madison's lies and exposing them. By the end of the night, over 200 people had seen the evidence. The tide was turning. The next morning, hungover from wedding champagne but blissfully happy, I woke up to dozens of messages. Family members apologizing. Friends who had canceled asking if they could make it up to me. People I barely knew reaching out to say they believed me. Madison's GoFundMe was taken down for fraud. She had to return the money. Her social media posts were flooded with people calling her out. She deleted her accounts within 48 hours. My mother tried to do damage control, but the evidence was too strong. She could not lie her way out of bank records and recorded phone calls. The family members who had sided with her quietly distanced themselves. 2 weeks later, I was reinstated at my job with a full apology from HR. The investigation found that the anonymous complaint was baseless, likely filed by someone outside the company. I was given back pay for my suspension. Madison tried to reach out a month after the wedding. She sent a text that said, "Can we talk? I think we need to clear the air." I blocked her number. There was nothing to clear. She had shown me who she was, and I believed her. My parents sent a letter asking to reconcile, but it was filled with justifications and excuses. They were sorry I was hurt, but they still believed they were right to protect Madison. They wanted me to understand their perspective. I did not respond. Understanding someone's perspective does not mean accepting their behavior. Connor and I decided to maintain our distance from my biological family. It was painful, but necessary. We focused on building our life together, surrounded by people who actually loved and supported us. His family became my family. Patricia taught me to garden. His father taught me to play chess. Emily became the sister I never had, the kind of sister who celebrated my successes instead of resenting them. Looking back, I realized that wedding day was not just about marrying Connor. It was about reclaiming my voice. It was about standing up for myself after a lifetime of backing down. It was about learning that you cannot control how others perceive you, but you can control your truth. My mother spent years training me to be small, to sacrifice, to put everyone else first. She built a family dynamic where Madison's feelings always mattered more than mine. And for years, I accepted that. But something changed that day in the kitchen. when she demanded I cancel my wedding. I realized that if I did not start choosing myself, no one else would. If I did not stand up for my own happiness, I would spend my entire life in Madison's shadow. Was it easy? No. It was the hardest thing I have ever done. I lost relationships I thought mattered. I faced public humiliation. I had my character attacked and my reputation damaged. But I gained something more valuable. I gained self-respect. I gained a partner who stood by me through everything. I gained a new family who showed me what real love looks like. And I gained the knowledge that I am strong enough to stand alone if I have to. The lesson I learned is simple but profound. You teach people how to treat you. For years, I taught my family that my needs were negotiable, that my happiness was less important than keeping the peace. I taught them that I would always bend, always sacrifice, always be the bigger person. When I finally stopped bending, they broke. But that was not my fault. It was never my responsibility to make myself smaller, so they could feel bigger. My day, my rules. Those words became my mantra. Not because I am selfish, but because I finally understood that honoring yourself is not selfish. Protecting your peace is not selfish. Refusing to be manipulated is not selfish. To anyone going through something similar, here is what I want you to know. You do not owe anyone your happiness. You do not owe anyone your wedding day, your success, your joy. Family is important, but you are important too. And if your family cannot celebrate you, cannot support you, cannot treat you with basic respect, then you have the right to walk away. It will hurt. People will judge you. They will call you selfish, cruel, ungrateful. Let them. The people who matter will see the truth, and the people who don't see it were never really on your side anyway. Connor and I just celebrated our first anniversary. We had a small dinner with our chosen family, the people who showed up for us when it mattered. We toasted to surviving the hardest year of our lives and coming out stronger. I have not spoken to my mother or Madison in over a year. I do not miss them. I miss the idea of them, the family I wished I had. But I do not miss the reality of who they actually are. Sometimes I wonder if they ever think about what they did, if they ever feel regret. Then I realize it does not matter. Their feelings are not my responsibility anymore. My life is peaceful now. Quiet. Full of people who love me without conditions. Connor and I are talking about buying a house. Maybe starting a family. When I think about having children, I know exactly what kind of mother I want to be. The opposite of mine. I will teach my children that their feelings matter. That they do not have to sacrifice their happiness for anyone. That standing up for themselves is brave, not selfish. That real love supports you. It does not tear you down. My wedding day was not perfect. It was not the grand event I had planned, but it was mine, and that made it perfect. So here is my final thought. Your day, your rules. Whatever your day is. Your wedding. Your graduation. Your promotion. Your accomplishment. It belongs to you. Do not let anyone take it from you. Do not let anyone convince you that their feelings matter more than yours. You are allowed to be happy. You are allowed to celebrate. You are allowed to choose yourself. And if people cannot handle that, if they try to tear you down, if they lie and manipulate and steal, remember this. The truth always comes out eventually. Document everything. Stand firm. And surround yourself with people who want to see you shine, not people who want to dim your light so theirs looks brighter. I am Evangeline. I chose myself. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace with family and standing up for yourself? What did you do? How did it turn out? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. Your experiences might help someone else who is going through something similar. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more stories about standing up for yourself and finding your strength. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who has been making themselves small to keep others comfortable. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. I hope whatever you are going through, you find the courage to choose yourself. You deserve it. Be well, be strong, and remember, your happiness matters just as much as anyone else's.